Welcome back. I'm George Kinder, and I'm reading from my book, Transforming Suffering into Wisdom, Mindfulness, and the Art of Inner Listening. We are, at this point, the passage that I'm going to read, we're moving through the preface, and we're at the final segment of the preface, the final section. It's called the Aspiration to Practice. So I'm going to be talking about aspiration. And when I read this page and a half. For years, I felt inspired to pursue the end of suffering. Each day, I prepared myself as if I were a vessel crafted of four qualities: dedication, focus, agility, and balance. I would start with an image of the most profound inner practice, however challenging it might be in my life at the time. I would imagine that I was so dedicated to knowing who I was, to understanding the world in which I lived, and to transforming suffering into wisdom, that I approached every moment of every day as if it was the moment that would bring me to freedom. I would aspire to a focus so strong that I might never waver from the object of my inner gaze. And I would strive to be so agile that however my mind wandered, I would be fresh and alert to each sensation, each feeling, as if each moment was my child just being born, a song I was just creating. I would imagine a balance of attention so developed that whatever change occurred in a moment, I could calibrate just the right degree of effort or ease necessary to meet it, with the delicacy of a hand reaching out to pick up a baby bird. These four qualities I returned to again and again as I sought to transform my own moments of suffering into wisdom: dedication, focus, agility, and balance. I have seldom done so with such perfection, but always have I approached this work with such aspiration. It is, after all, to me, a crucial task to make the most earthy, unfortunate, and uncomfortable raw materials of my own life and attempt to make of each of them a genuine gem of wisdom, so that I might experience in moments again and again throughout my days the transformation of darkness into light. For me, the task is crucial because it is what makes all of my life, every moment, worth living. The exercises you will encounter as you read this book are designed to lead you toward these transformations. They are simple to do, although they take practice. Most of them lead up to or derive from a concept I call the structure of suffering, a notion that each time we are unhappy or we suffer or our world feels out of joint, exactly the same process and structure of thoughts and feelings is occurring inside us. And there's a simple process to unlock that structure of suffering that brings us to freedom. At least, it is simple to describe. It takes practice to do well. Although I think of the practices of this book as constituting the art of inner listening, what we have come to call mindfulness, it is my hope that as you take on this art, you will also learn to transform your suffering, whether it feels very small or very large, into wisdom. So just a couple of reflections on these 3 paragraphs. One is the precision with which I'm suggesting we can approach our moments of stress, of discomfort, of uncertainty, of difficulty, of suffering itself. And that we can, almost in a surgical kind of way, we can take those moments and look at them, address them. And almost just by the act of approaching them in that way, there is what I called in the last section that I read, the experience of freedom, and a process that feels like freedom itself. It's a wonderful thing to look this closely at ourselves, not to wallow in our kind of neurotic attachments or aversions to it, but to look at it with a clear mind. And that's one of the things we'll be looking at here. How can we separate ourselves enough from it that we can observe it as if we were watching a movie or reading a book, or listening to an incredible piece of music that has a lot of feeling in it. In each of those places, we are able somehow to separate ourselves from the experience so that we're able to learn from the experience directly. One of the things I'm suggesting here is that these 4 qualities of focus, of dedication, first of all, because you want to be dedicated to discovery of this experience, and then to focus on it, and then to be agile as it shifts about, and particularly as our mind keeps leaping onto other things in a way to trap us in that experience of suffering. And then to find a way of being balanced as we observe. So these are incredible things. So first of all, just the dedication, kind of the passion to do this work, and to know that we can kind of pull these experiences out and observe them in the moment. So a dedication, a willingness to do that. Second, once we have that experience identified inside of ourselves, to focus on it, to be steady and direct, to be concentrated on it. Third, to have this incredible sense of agility that as we get thrown from one thought to another, or from one sensation in the body to another, or from one experience, one emergency, it feels like, to another, we can be agile there rather than kind of taken over by these experiences. That's an incredible thing, that nimbleness and presence of mind and body. And then finally, this sense of balance in the midst of it all, that we're so interested, we're so dedicated, we have such focus and such nimbleness that we can find a balance as we watch it. And no matter what the seesaw is doing to us, we're right there in the middle, experiencing it. Doing this book and coming to these understandings were incredible times for me. I hope I can share some of that excitement with you. These 4 qualities are a major reason why it was a time filled with excitement rather than a time filled with tragedy or trauma. Very good. Thank you. We'll see you again tomorrow.